Welcome to another episode of the Mojo Hour Show. I'm your host, Pamela Sullivan, and I'm your host for this week, and I'm thrilled that you're here with me. I am someone that works with midlife women primarily to help them spiral up, not just their mental toughness, but also that inner spark within them to help them get through all of that's challenging them and to get into a state of flow and ease to help them live their life much more effectively. Well, this is another week of interesting conversation, and the title this week is Victim Chic and How to Dissolve This Incredible Phenomenon. You know, this is not something that we think about, is it? Victimhood or victim chic. And what is victim chic? Well, victim chic, C-H-I-C, is this thing that we seem to have onboarded as a society where it's cool to blame somebody else for what is primarily our responsibility to handle. So I'm going to be talking about that a little bit, but first I want to talk about the find of the week. As you know, each week I bring you something that I found that I think that you might be interested in knowing about. It's usually a thing or a book, but this week it is a concept, and the concept is that of choice. And it's not that I've just discovered choice or that you have just discovered choice, but what it is a reminder that we have it and to exercise it at will, as opposed to waiting for someone to give us permission to do something. You have choice in any given moment. And sometimes it's not easy to make the choice because there might be consequences to your choice. There's consequences to every choice. Some are good consequences and some are not so good consequences. But either way, choice is one of the many superpowers that we have, but we don't exercise it as frequently as we actually think that we do. But as we move into today's topic, we'll find out how we can talk about choice in a more empowering way, okay? So that was the find of the week, choice. Now let's move into the actual topic this week of victim chic and how to dissolve this phenomenon. Now, as I started off by saying, in the society that we now find ourselves, we are bombarded with messages all day long about the left and the right and the woke and the not woke and so forth. And all of these people taking these sides and stands about whose fault it is about where we find ourselves. And if everybody is at fault, it means that we are not to be held responsible for anything that is going on. And in some cases, that could be true. But what I'm advocating in our show today is our responsibility for the actions in our lives and the choices that we are making and where we happen to find ourselves and where we are going in our future. I call it future selfing, and I talk about that a lot in my Spark private community group. Future selfing is such an important concept because we're so busy always putting out the fires of today, and all of our energy and all of our thinking power goes in to dealing with the present. Yes, the present moment is important, but I'm talking about the fact that we don't project out a little bit so we can have a better now. Our now is not working towards a better future in a lot of cases. People are constantly fighting and striving and trying to survive and just have enough thinking power to deal with what's happening right now. And it doesn't build for a good tomorrow. All that we're doing at that point, it's like a domino effect. One domino hits and it hits the other one and it falls down in sequence. And the same way with our thinking and what the choices are for our today. It's the same choice we made yesterday that we're making today that we're going to make for tomorrow. And the next thing you know, you have a series of these same choices that are going to make a familiar future. And for those of us that are wanting a different future, that can happen if we're not ready to settle down into the present moment and make a few decisions about things, okay? So let's get back to the conversation around future chic and how we can sort of dissolve that in our own lives. Now, none of us want to believe that we are victims. You know, when we call somebody a victim, it's not a really great thing to be called because, in essence, what you're saying is that you don't have any type of control or responsibility around the circumstances of your life, and you sort of handed it off and you're putting blame on something or somebody else for what is essentially your responsibility. And again, like I said, we see that a lot. But what about you? What are you doing around your sense of responsibility for yourself? Where in your life do you feel trapped or stuck, or that you're ruminating too much without any sense of resolution about what you want to see happen? Now, if you're like most people, especially ladies at this age, we say we've lived a full life and there's nothing more that we can do or change. You're too old to have a different worldview, or, like they say, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. I mean, there's just so many sayings we give ourselves as to not choosing a different way of doing things. So we get stuck in this mode, in this victim mode, in this victim chic. And it's okay, because all of our friends are saying the same thing. All of our friends are moving in much the same way. And I found myself in much the same place when it came to this sort of victim mentality at this point. I was stuck living my life with a little bit too much weight on me. And I thought, well, my mother was heavy and my grandmother was heavy. And, I'm at that age where it's totally acceptable. Who cares? I'm not trying to impress anybody. I'm good as I am. And when I asked myself that question, Pamela, are you good as you are? Do you feel good about that choice? And I really had to admit that I didn't feel good about that choice. I wanted to live in a body that was stronger and leaner and faster. Why? Because I didn't want my future self to be bombarded with medical issues. And if I didn't take care of this right now, that's what I was pushing off to the future. And would my future self thank me? I don't think so. So I thought to myself, what am I going to do? So this is where the superpower of choice comes in. Choice. I had to choose a different way forward, because if I continue to make the same choice day after day after day, I would continue to get the same results and hoping for something different. Well, you know what they say about that. That is the definition of insanity. And I would even go further and say that hoping for something different and knowing it's not going to change and still choosing it is the actual definition of insanity. And I wanted to jump off of that merry-go-round, so I did. And I took steps. And it was not easy. It seemed really glamorous to, I've got a trainer, and I'm doing this, I'm out going off to the gym, and it all sounds really cool. But when the camera's not on, it's tough. It's not cool. It's not sexy. It's damn right difficult some days to get myself off of the bed, to put on my running shoes, to go there first thing in the morning, and to follow this program from this trainer. And trying to work through to completion is a difficult thing, but it's a problem that I chose. I choose this problem because I want to solve this problem. We all have problems in our life. No one's problem is any different or better or worse than anybody else's problem, but a lot of our problems that we experience in our life are problems that find us. I found this problem. I chose the problem of self-improvement for my body. And a lot of people don't choose that problem for themselves. They just continue doing what they're doing, eating how they're eating, being sedentary, and even though they're not happy, they're choosing that. And I didn't want to choose that anymore. I wasn't happy in that circumstance. So I chose a different problem. The problem of how to get off the gym floor after doing a particular set of exercises. The problem of eating properly and fresh and clean. The problem of weighing myself. The problem of writing down my food. All those problems, right? Anything that you choose comes with its own unique set of problems. It's whether or not you want to feel good about working through those problems or not. Most people are working through problems not of their own doing, and resentment is stirring high. Even though this is a difficult one for me, I don't feel resentful of it, because I know at the end, if there is an end, I'm improving. Something is changing. Something is shifting. I can see my collarbones all of a sudden. There's things happening. I'm starting to feel a little bit stronger, even though I haven't mastered anything yet. There's already outward signs of my efforts. And that's really all that is important for me at this point, is to make sure that I'm going in the direction in which I choose. And it's a struggle, all right? And I wrote down some points here around this whole victim chic disillusion, which is, like I said, choice. choosing. When you don't choose, that's still a choice. A lot of people fool themselves into thinking, well, I'm not going to make a decision about anything. Well, you just made a decision about something. You made a decision not to make a decision. That's a choice, right? Every choice has a consequence. When you don't choose to look after your body and the adverse consequence befalls you, who's going to take the responsibility for that? There is nobody to take the responsibility for that choice except you, right? If you're not choosing to save money for your future and your future arrives and you have no money and you're scrambling to figure out how to survive, who are you choosing to blame for that? There is nobody to blame, right? Well, Pamela, inflation, I can't save money, I don't have a job, I don't have... Well, this is now to think about that. How are you going to make sure that your future self, if you live long enough to get to your future self in the next 10, 15, 20 years, what kind of conversation is that future self going to have? Well, I could have done something different 15, 20 years ago, and I chose not to. You see how these things interact with each other, choice and responsibility, right? A lot of people are stuck in their present moments fighting themselves about either not choosing or putting the blame somewhere else. It's something else. It's somebody else. Their responsibility is at your doorstep. A lot of us weren't dealt the best hand in life, okay? We weren't given the benefit of a beautiful childhood and parents that were comforting and supportive and all of these things. I mean, there are some people that had horrific things happen to them in their childhood. Okay, so we weren't all dealt great hands in our origin stories. But the difference lies in how you chose to play those hands. It's like playing poker. And I don't mean to belittle anybody's circumstances here. I had some horrific things happen to me as a young child. Not a great hand I was dealt. Some of my friends were dealt beautiful hands in life, all right? But it's what you choose to do. It's like I said, playing poker. Some players are dealt great hands and some players are dealt really crappy hands. The difference in the game playing is the choices you make during the course of the game. So it is with our life. Yes, my life started off crappy, but now as an adult, what am I choosing to do about that? It's my responsibility to find out a better way to move forward, whether I go through counseling and therapy, education, making choices for a healthier, better way of moving forward. These are all in my lap. My parents are no longer alive, so I can't stand around blaming them anymore. They've already lived their life. They're gone. I'm left here to make the best hand that I possibly can with the cards that I have to play with, right? And as in poker, you throw away some cards and you get some new cards to make a better hand. So do that with yourself. That's your responsibility for your life, is to make better and better hands until you have a beautiful set of cards. Yes, your past is your past. What happened can't be taken away. I'm not saying that. What happened to me can't be taken away. But I'm not standing around bemoaning the fact that there are people on this planet, and some of them really close, right? And they're living in that story about what someone did, what someone said. Decades ago, they're still going on about this story. And some of those people are even dead and gone, and they're still going on about what happened to them, because they are living that story of victimhood. And we seem to be so practiced with that story in this society of ours. We seem to be so entitled around all these indignities and injustices. And like I said, some things are not of our doing, but we are left with the responsibility of taking care of the outcomes and future choices around what's happened to us. Right? This is not a fairy tale, my friends. Right? We might have some movies that tell us this, or maybe on social media, all of this beautiful set of stories that go on about who you are and what you deserve, and we need to just think of the positive. And what is that doing for you? It's not making you the type of person that can go out into the world and problem solve through the situations that are going on. We live in this bubble. A lot of us are living in this bubble of positivity that does not convert well to how the rest of the planet is living. More people on this planet are living in dire straits than you could ever imagine and know. Okay? We have to understand that when we talk about all of this, live your best life. Well, when you can't find water for the day, for you and your children, how is that living your best life? What are you telling that woman? We first here, on this part of the planet, need to understand how to persevere and become the type of people that can be great way showers, because we're not even, in effect, great way showers for ourselves. The littlest thing that happens when we fall apart, we dissolve into a mess, or into tears, or self-recrimination, or doubt, and blaming ourselves. It's just a bag of mess. And a lot of people are making the choice to sidestep the mental toughness and what it takes to heal themselves by excessively drinking, watching TV, taking drugs, just ignoring the problem because, well, it's just better to do that, right? And some people have taken it way too far, and that they've disappeared into extravagance, into excess. And they think somehow that is the spiritual way to handle life. It's not. It's still here. The mess is still here. I call it a turd sundae. You know, a pile of poop and you've got whipped cream and a cherry on top. Looks great, but under there it's a seething hot mess of poop. And that's how a lot of people choose to live their life. They get themselves all dressed up, looking pretty and hot. And meanwhile, the inside is a seething hot mess of poop. And I recognized about my life, and I set out on a journey to work on that, and I will always continue to work on that. I don't think it'll ever be the end, but I'm aware of those shortcomings and blind spots, and I do what I need to do to work on them. And sometimes I falter and fall down, and I gotta pick myself up and continue on. I don't start over. I continue on with a new choice tomorrow, and this is what I advocate for those that I work with. Learn how to choose again and become responsible for those choices. Become that person for yourself first before you try to do it with other people. And that's the thing. Everybody wants to be, coaching and mentoring other people, and they have yet to coach and mentor themselves first. Okay? So, choice. I just spoke a little bit about responsibility. Taking responsibility for those choices and for who you are every single day, so it turns into a beautiful future self down the road, a more empowered and enlightened future self, not an entitled future self, because that will get you nowhere. All right? The next thing I want to talk about is the sense of struggle. We're always trying to sidestep struggle. We seem to think, again, that all we have to do is be comfortable and in ease. Well, folks, if you haven't traveled around this great planet of ours, a lot of people are in some kind of struggle. Some people are struggling to survive because they're living in war zones. Some people are struggling to survive because they can't find water or food for themselves or their children because of famine or climate change or something, or corrupt governments or something, right? It's not like there's no toilet paper at the grocery store at Costco. That's not struggle. That's an inconvenience for us on this side of the world. So struggle is a good thing for us to be able to learn how to be responsible, learn how to make better choices, learn how to toughen up. And this is the next point. I won't go into it just yet. So don't run from struggle. Struggle is that thing that makes us actually better people. Learn how to struggle beautifully. That sounds ridiculous, Pam. Who wants to struggle? I mean, come on now. Well, think about it. That's a natural law. All of nature struggles to grow. Have you ever seen an acorn break open to become an oak tree? If you watch those time-lapse videos, not an easy thing. But we enjoy the effects of it going through the struggle, don't we? We get to see the beautiful tree. We get to enjoy its shady leaves. Beautiful, right? It didn't give up. It's like, oh, it's just too tough breaking through this hard shell. I'm just gonna sit over here and wait for someone to save me. No, that's not a thing that this thing does. It breaks through and it finds a place to plant itself and grow its roots down deep, and then grows to the sun. We need to follow in like manner. Break through our shell of entitlement and ease and comfort. Yes, we all want that, ease and comfort. But that just makes us a weakened person. That when things get tough, we don't know how to handle it. and we look for someone to come save us. And no one's coming to save you. I'm sure you've heard that. But we don't act as if we believe it. The responsibilities. I keep bouncing back to responsibility and choice. It's all part of dissolving the victim phenomenon. Even though we say, oh, well, I'm not a victim, Pamela. I mean, look, you'd be surprised how much of a victim you actually are if you were actually to inquire about some things and ask yourself the tough questions about what you would do or what you are willing to do to grow and empower yourself in the way that you need to grow and empower yourself. Not just for yourself, but for the good of other people as well. You're not just living for yourself, although I know on social media it says, think for yourself, it's all about you, and it's love to yourself. Sure, but not solely because that's the end goal. Love yourself so you can do the work to empower and improve yourself and elicit mastery so you can be of good to other people. We need to start living our life more for other people. I think self-improvement is a worthy goal, but it's not where you stop. You get better so you can be more for others too. All right? So struggle is something you need to reframe. Whenever a problem pops up, it's like, yes, now I get to use my mental acuity and all the things at my disposal to solve the problem. When you solve problems, it's a wonderful thing. That's where happiness and joy comes from. Happiness and joy is not coming from navel gazing and sailing down the river, right? We are problem solvers. You know how I know that? If I ask you a question, what happens? You immediately go to work on the answer. We are natural problem solvers, yet people try to back step from that responsibility. Oop, there's that word again. We are responsible. And the higher up that you get in your problem solving skills, you want to talk about success in the world? The most highly paid people on this planet are advanced problem solvers. Learn to become an advanced problem solver in your lane. That's me. I'm solving problem. The problem I'm solving for people is how to get that mental acuity and mental toughness so that they can spiral up that mojo, so that they can be effective in their businesses and their careers and their lives, so that they can make a huge difference in the lives of other people. But if you don't have those things, if that's not how you're living your life, you find yourself stuck and confused and looping and don't know what to do, can't solve anything, can't make the move forward that you need to make. Okay? So this is all I'm saying to you, is that learn to be that type of person. Take on the challenge, take on the struggle, go on a quest. I'm on a quest to change my body, to improve my body so I can be healthier as I grow older. I'm in that stage of life now where things could start changing very quickly on me. I'm in my midlife and heading to, getting close to 60. So I'm not waiting until I need to start taking a plethora of drugs and pills to help me. Now's the time to do it. What about you? What are you thinking about and wishing about and not taking action on? This is not about waiting to get motivated and inspired. It's your responsibility to do something. You have life in you. As long as you've got life in you, you have what it takes to make the decision choice to trigger responsibility and to struggle through. Struggling through is a worthy endeavor. If you've ever gone through your education, you have to struggle through those grades and struggle through to get your diplomas and degrees until you came out with something. Or those of you that are building businesses, it's a constant struggle. And one that you probably won't give up for anything. And you enjoy the struggle. When we look back on our lives, for those of us that are at that age, the best times in your life are all those things that you overcame, is it not? You're proud of those accomplishments and achievements, are you not? I am. At the time it was just like, am I ever going to be able to get through this? This is awful. This is horrible. This is horrific. I'll never be happy again. My relationship broke up. I lost money. I lost health. You lost family. You lost friends. Oh, this is never going to be any better. And then somehow you've overcome it and you're still here. And you're proud of the fact that you overcame it and you're still standing. And that's mental toughness. And how to do this in a way that serves you and other people. So don't try to sidestep the struggle. This is what makes you a really great human. That's what brings the joy and happiness, not the other stuff that you think it might be. Don't be looking for comfort and ease. People who are just burdened down in comfort and ease, you'd be surprised how anxious and depressed they actually are, because they're not after a worthy goal, purpose, and or meaning for their life. Okay, so let's move into, I've already talked about mental toughness. That's number 4 on the list. And this all really encompasses mental toughness and how to go about doing that. But the first place I would, ask you to start around mental toughness is learning how to ask deep, inquiring questions about your why for doing things or why not for doing things. Why are you not getting healthy and strong? What is that conversation if you were to be truly honest with yourself? And I know a lot of people can come up with a lot of reasons as to why they can't do that. Oh, I'm too old. Oh, I'm too heavy. Oh, who cares? Oh, I'm not trying to impress anybody. Impress yourself. Get healthy for yourself. Forget about anybody else. This is about you keeping out of the hospital and becoming a burden to somebody else. All right? Do it for you. You're not trying to become a Victoria's Secret model. Do it for you. All right? I'm doing it for me because I do not want to be a burden to anybody way before my time. Okay? I'm doing it for me to feel good in my skin and strong in my skin so I can handle the issues of life. If I'm sick, I'm weak, I'm fuzzy in my brain, I'm heavy, I can't properly handle things as they come, especially as an entrepreneur, because that's an ongoing struggle, okay? And number 5 is don't master in minor things. And for the real part of this conversation, mostly it's minor things. Not everybody is going through war. Not everybody is losing loved ones left, right, and center, although we will lose people because that's just the course of life. We ourselves will be gone one day too, right? But for the most part, people are mastering in minor things. And it's an easy fix. Get still. Ask yourself, how can you work through this problem? Because the answers are here. The answers are here. Work with somebody that can help you ask the deep questions that can help you start solving these problems. You're one answer away from solving your problem, and the rest of it is just input every day from you. A lot of you are just sort of looping about, stuck. Don't know how to ask the question or find the answers to put it into play, so you're just stuck and you're moving through this loop, confused, cloudy-headed, fuzzy thinking. And a lot of it is because you're ignoring what you need to do. It's easier to ignore it. Don't know what you're talking about. Just ignore. That's a choice too. Okay? So I just want you to consider that for this week. And before you go, I want to now move in, you know what it is, the Hot Mojo Tip. Okay, it says, in this moment, you are capable of exponential improvement in your performance. You can multiply your personal effectiveness, hit new highs, and shatter old achievement records. Yes, you can, ladies and gentlemen. You can go higher. You can go further. You can go deeper. You can go wider. It's a choice. It's your responsibility to try and do that and not settle. A lot of people are just in the same spot until the end. And that could be another few decades doing the same thing, not trying to do more or better themselves to help other people too. All right, don't be that person. I'm challenging you not to be that person. And I'm also inviting you to follow me or to go to mojoresources.ca. There's the link right there. And mojoresources.ca will start you off with a few deep inquiry questions, and you can start vision planning from there. Okay, it's really important. It's a great way, especially for those of us that are in our midlife, to then take it a little further. We may never finish our quest, but at least you've started it and somebody else can finish it, hopefully. Okay, so this has been my pleasure, and join me again next week for our continued conversation on how to continue spiraling up. Have a beautiful week. Bye-bye.